Hello.
Yes, Raj.
Okay, so I'm starting. Okay. Uh, Hello everyone. Good morning. Welcome to today's Saturday learning session. My name is Suraj Thapa. I am a full stack developer at Mindbrowser. Firstly, let's talk about the Saturday learning. So, what is Saturday learning? Saturday learning is a tech session conducted by Mindbrowser every month. In this, we share our learning and experience of the technologies we learn. Next slide. So today's topic will be real-time DB and Firestore, which will be presented by Suraj Thapa and Subham Kapat. Next slide. So coming to the overview, we will be covering the following topics, starting with the intro to the Firestore and Firebase. Then we will be covering authentication in Firebase. Then Firestore and real-time DB integration with React, DB database and data structure in Firestore and real-time DB, event types in Firestore and real-time DB, difference between real-time and Firestore DB. At the end, we will be giving the demo in which we will be covering all the topics we implemented. So we will start with what is Firebase and Firestore. So first, start with what is Firebase. It is developed by Google. It is a Google back application software that enables the developers to develop apps for iOS, Android, and web apps, etc. It also provides tools for tracking, analytics, reporting, and marketing. Overall, Firebase provides fast, out-of-the-box backend service. Next will be what is Firestore. It is also known as Cloud Firestore. It is flexible, scalable cloud database. So basically, it is the successor of real-time DB with more intuitive data models, faster, richer, and scalable in features. Next, then comes the Firebase authentication. Firebase supports highly secure authentication out of the box. It supports multiple authentication systems like simple email password authentication. Uh, it also supports like anonymous authentication and mainly wide range of social authentications like Google, Facebook, Twitter, etc. So next will be how we implemented Firestore with React. So to integrate Firebase with React, first we have to install Firebase JavaScript library through npm with the following code: npm install Firebase, then initialize Firebase in your React app and create the Firebase config object. The Firebase config object will consist of keys like project key, API key, DB URL, etc. After creating and initializing Cloud Firebase, we have to initialize the Firestore with the following function: get Firestore. We will be discussing this further in demo with great details. Next comes the database structure in Firestore. So as you can see, database structure of the Firestore. It consists of three parts. First is collection. It is like the table, which consists of a document. The document is the unique element which consists the values in a key value format. Next one. This is the live example of the Firestore DB. First, you can see the collection, which name should be unique. This is like a table, which consists of a document. The document have a unique ID, which will be used on the Firestore or Firebase events later on. Then lastly, the value field, which is the third and last column, which consists values in key value format. Also in this, it can contain uh, nested values or nested documents inside the values. This is the value or a data structure in Firestore. It have the key value type format. It can also have the nested collection or documents, as I already discussed. Next slide. So lastly comes the event types in Firestore. Event types are triggered when some modification or accessing is done in Firestore. Mainly there are 4 or 5 types of events in Firestore. First is on create. This will trigger when a document is written or created for the first time. Next is on update, triggered when a document already exists is updated. Then comes the on delete, triggers when a document with data is deleted. And on write, this will triggers when a document is created, updated, or deleted. Also on delete, on write, and on update, we will need the document ID for necessary modification. Lastly, on read, this will be triggered when a document is read or access. Inside on read, for real-time data access, there is a function known as on snapshot inside Firestore, which will be used for accessing the real-time changes. Further, all the use events types will be discussed in the demo briefly. So from here, next topics will be presented by Shubham. So over to you.
So thank you, Suraj, for explaining us about the Firestore. So hello everyone, and myself Shubham Gappat. I am working as a full stack developer from last 1.5 years in a Mind Browser. So from here I am explaining the further points. So our next topic was real-time DB. So real-time DB was a cloud-hosted database provided by the Firebase, and it is basically support NoSQL language, which is used for the big data and real-time apps. So data stored in the real-time DB was in a JSON format, and it is synchronized with every client in a real time. Real-time DB is the original database provided by the Firebase. So our next topic was how to integrate real-time database in a React project. So we follow the same steps as we implemented in a Firestore. So first we have to install the Firebase library. Then we have to initialize a Firebase object in a firebase.js file, and after that we have to access the database using a get database function with the app key, which is initialized in our firebase.js file. So we explain this in a demo. So next was database structure in a real-time database. So real-time DB supports the JSON structuring, and it is shown in the T structure format in a real-time DB console. So we can also, for our assumption, we can also say that real-time DB was a cloud-hosted JSON tree, in which whenever we create or update the database, update the data from any node, it is saved in the node format. So here in a diagram we can see the a node for the employee, and we also can create a nested node like a department ID. So departments was a nested key for that. So next was data structure in the real-time DB. So this was a DB diagram gated from the Firebase real-time DB console. So as you can see here, employee node was a main node of the database. Then after that, the key which was provided by the real-time DB itself. Then the department was a nested node in which we can see the department ID, department name, and employee ID. After that, all was a key and value pair, which is synchronized with the employee. So the next was event types in the real-time database. So real-time database also supports the create, update, delete, and write events. So in write event, it was triggered when the data was created, updated, or deleted from the DB. Then on create method, it was created when any node or any data was created in the DB. On update was triggered when any node is updated in the real-time DB, and on delete was triggered when the node was deleted from the real-time DB. So next was a difference between the Firestore and real-time DB. So Firebase is real-time DB. The Firebase real-time DB was a JSON data store, and the Firestore also is a JSON data store, but it was in a arranged formats of a document. Then real-time DB was an unstructured database, which is in a tree format, and Firestore was a structured data because it was presented in the document format, so we are easy to access that. Uh, Real-time DB was a original database provided by the Firebase, but Firestore was a next generation, or you can call the successor of the real-time DB. Then the real-time DB has demonstrated us about the low latency. Firestore also shows us about the low latency, but it supports the complex query, which was not in the real-time DB. But we have the limitations in the Firestore as compared to the real-time DB. So both have the, we can set security rules for both real-time DB and Firestore in their console. So we can move to the demo now. So let me show you the console first. So this is how the Firebase console looks like. So whenever you sign in with a Firebase console, so we have to create firstly project, then we have to name that project. So I am giving the name like demo project. So we can continue here. After that, we have to enable Google Analytics for the project, then continue. So you can create a new account, or you can use our Firebase default account if you have. So I'm going with a default account and creating a project. So after creating project, we are going through the authentication, then Firestore and real-time DB. So we see the how authentication, we can apply authentication on any project, then how to create a real-time DB and a Firestore in the Firebase. So let's finishing up with this creation process. Okay, so project was created. Then we see the project means project console. So here you can see you can create an app for iOS, then Android or web app. So we are continuing with the web app. So here you have to mention your web app name. So then register our app. So after you can get the how we can use Firebase in our project. So in a initial command like installing the npm package, then this was the Firebase config we have to copy in our project. Like you can see here, I have get firebase.js file. So we have to mention Firebase config here. Then we have to initialize the app using the Firebase config object. Then you can use the app in our get auth, then Firestore and get storage also. So next was continue to the console. So after this, I can go you through with the authentication part. So you have to enable authentication in your project. You can go with the authentication in a build. So we are starting with the get started. So here you can see the auth methods provided by the Firebase. So you can start with the email and password, then phone, then anonymous user. Then also you can use the third-party providers like Google, Facebook, Paygames, Microsoft, Yahoo, etc. So for this session, we are going with email and password authentication. So you have to enable email and password. So when if you want to send an email link to user whenever it get registered or sign in, so you can enable this or you can disable also this. So we are getting it with this. So you can see here that provider name and it is enabled. So whenever the user registered, it will get into this table. So next we see with the Firestore database. So if you have to access it, you can get it with a build then Firestore database. So we are creating a database. So you can start production mode also, or you can for your console you can use the test mode also. So we are getting it with the test mode. Then next, then you have to select a server from which location you are accessing that. So I am using Asia East to enable. So the Firestore was getting created. It will take time for 5 to 10 minutes. So for that, I am giving a demo about the Firebase Firestore chat app, our code and all. So this is how the Firebase config look like. Then we have to initialize the app and get if you are need the authentication on your project, then you can use a get auth using the Firebase auth library. Then we are accessing a DB from a get Firestore using the Firebase /Firestore library. Then we have like a login page, home page, and register page. In the app section, you can see this. Then I think, yeah. So here was our database for this project was created already. So I going through that. So this was a sample project, means for this demo we are created this. So this was look like this. You can set rules here also. So the rules was already there, which was provided by the Firestore itself. Whenever you can create, you can modify it or get more rules in this. So I am going through how we implemented this. So this was a Firestore demo. So this was a login page. So there was no user. You can see here in authentication table. So we are creating one user using the register feature. So you have to give a name of that user, then email of that user and password. So you are registering here. Okay. So you can see here in authentication table the user was created. So you see here the user list by which we get this means which user was created in our demo project that was here. So I think sorry, it was not that project. So yes, this was the project. So you can see here the author user whichever registered from that platform. The show we are showing this list here also. So you can get list all here. Then in a Firestore, we also get instance of this user whenever it was created. So I can show you that also in our user table. So you can see here that Shubham1 was created, the user ID, the name, and is online is true. So we start with our application. So I just message Suraj from here. You can see a few seconds ago. Then you can see the last message was created for this user. So it was shared by Shubham and to the Suraj, hi message, and the time 1 October for this. Then you can see it in the message also. So we created here the nested collection as Suraj discussed already. So in this chat, the another document was present, and this was the message. So let me go you through the code. So for registering, we use create user with email and password, which is provided by the Firebase library itself. So we have to pass their email password of the user. So we are creating user table using a user and set doc using set doc method provided by the Firebase Firestore library. And after that, if you are logging in with that, you can sign in with the email and password. And if you are using a third-party applications, that was also that was also provided by the Firebase Auth library. So let me go you through the code of the how chat apps works. So you can see here on snapshot method, it was used when you are getting a real-time updates from your database. If there was any creation, updation, or deleted, you can get at that time using on snapshot method. So we are getting it using the on snapshot. Then we are updating doc using update doc, and we have to get I mention ID whichever we are updating. We are getting a doc if you are means you have to access only one doc, then we are using a get doc method. We have to mention ID also here. Then for the creation process, there are two more methods, add doc and set doc. So add doc is a method which uses for newly document created, and set doc was used for if there was any updation, or we have to only add anything in that doc, we are using a set doc. Then this was about the Firestore. You have the you can set the indexes and all properties from the here also, and you have mentioning the usage from you can see the usage from here also. So for now, the snapshot read value was here. So next demo was on the real-time DB. So you can see here the real-time DB how it is looks and like. So as I said, it was a JSON tree format. So it was look like this. Then if you are using the nested, then this was like this. So you can see the instances here created. So for now, I'm creating a new user using a real-time DB demo. So the same steps which we are using in the Firestore, we are used that also in the real-time DB also. So you can see here same config file was there, but we are getting database access using the get database rather than the get Firestore. So we are using the same method for a login and registering. You can see here create with a email and password, and login it with a email and password. So next was I'm creating a one document, one user for this session. Become, then, um, so the user was registering. So you can see here when you can see here the yellow light was pop up. So the user was created instantly. So let me go you through this. Yes. So this was created user at that time. So created at we can share that this was the storing time and seconds in the created ad by the real-time DB itself. So email of the user is online to name of the user and user ID. So we are accessing all the data using the user ID if we are providing authentication and all. If you are not getting into that part, you can use this using the node part, node ID also. So next was how it looks like. So you can see here. So I am uh, triggering a message to the Chris Ronaldo from here. So you can see here hi timing of that message. So you can see here that node was created just now in that chat section nested, then the chat ID, and you can see here the user and all. So we can set rules also for here for the real-time DB. We can back up these plans, or we have to upgrade the real-time DB usage and all. So you can get this from here. So I am telling now the what method we are using to create object and all. So firstly on value. So on value get us know about whatever the updation or creation or deleting any node or creating node. The on value was triggered whenever it was updated or deleted or created. So it was a real time listener for the real time DB. So we are using this for the real time update, and then we can see the select user and all. So for update you can use a normal update method provided by the Firebase database. So we have to mention reference of every document or anything we are accessing DB or anything. So we have to mention refer everywhere in real time DB. So we can use a get method for getting node of that message using the ID node ID. Then for creating, you can use a push method or set method. So push method was like it was means it was creating a new node for that instance whenever it was triggered by the push. Or the set was like we have to mention their ID, and for that ID the updation or creation process was getted by the set method.